Hello from Safonovo. This is a podcast Pigeon of Peace where we do discuss awesome skills for travel shooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about partnership and let's start with the definition.
When you start to make a family or business, you need to think about partnership. Family without partnership almost impossible. When you start a business, it's much easier and less risky to do it with someone. Okay, let's start, for example, with family. There are several ways. First, you should find a man or a woman which would be perfect for your future tasks, for babies, for nursing, for travel, and so on. When you think about business, your partner should add special features to your tandem which you do not have. For example, you do not like to calculate. Partner should make or like to do it. Maybe you do not familiar with technology. Then partner should know this. So there is like to find another part of yin and yang. Is it okay to say?
Yin yang would be correct.
There is a funny demotivator I have seen in LinkedIn several months ago. There is a coach, and on this coach sitting two girls. It was easy shapes, just very simple figures, and to them approaching another girl with very sophisticated figure. It is not like person, but like something very puzzle. And this girl, which is so sophisticated, asked them, okay, for you it's so easy to find your second part, but for me it's almost impossible. So if you have a very high opinion about yourself, or maybe you have high demand for your partner, then you are in trouble, because you could spend so many times that family wouldn't worth to make, and business maybe it also would be not a best time to create.
Well, when we select someone, or maybe group of the people who will be joining us in this role, depending on the nature, whether it's like a business or relationships, probably we also not only looking what they bring to the table, what kind of skills, requirements, or connections they have, but maybe like some sort of, I would say, like a buy-in in whatever form it could be. For example, okay, maybe I'll start from a distant area, like in the students, as far as I know, in the colleges, like in America or in England, if you want to join the brotherhood, you actually have to go through some sort of like a humiliation. You not be a partner, but at least you will be someone just, like to pass to something. And maybe in the business, like when you're really serious about stepping forward, you probably would give like a lump sum of money that would really confirm that you really want to not only bring your brain, but also your pockets. So what kind of trials might be conducted in order to vet candidate to make sure that they actually really want to be who they want to be?
When I was working in Germany, Frankfurt am Main, I was asked by my colleagues, which were partners in McKinsey. They were asked me, do you want to create a business? And I said, yes, I'd like to make it maybe in 3 or 5 years when I will finish my institute. And then they taught me. First, you should think how to divide your losses, not the profit. And I was so curious, and I was thinking about it for several days. It's not so easy. Okay, if you have already killed a bear, you could share the part of this fur. But if this bear is not killed, you should share your wonders, which would be given by this very dangerous creature. And for example, when we were creating several business with my partners, like Daniel Schmidt and Oleg Bragинский and some other, I always I was always trying to tell them, okay, you should be prepared to give, for example, like 2 to 5 or 10 million rubles if something will happen. And they easily agreed to make this, but it never happened. When we have trouble in Bureau Bragинский, in School of Troubleshooters, in clinic in Hollywood, and sometimes I ask them, okay, are you ready to give some money? And everyone is saying, oh, come on, it was just hypothetical situation, but could you please make this donation to the company? And at this point, I think next time maybe I should sign the papers.
Well, actually, since we're talking about like a legal parts or agreements parts, what I also noticed from observation, there it could be like a junior partner, senior partners. So it's like about ranking, or it's about distributing not really roles, but I would call it more like a functions or areas of responsibility. So when it comes to the partnerships, how this should be divided, split, and then regulated moving forward.
Is the most complicated question in the business. Let's take an example, Ukraine National Antivirus. There were three people, three like shareholders. One person, it was responsible for Ukrainian sales. I was responsible for international sales. And one person was responsible for antivirus laboratory. Antivirus laboratory, it was the easiest part to do because it is not a sales. You should just organize a lot of students to investigate viruses and to create some part to cure them. Yes, it is sophisticated, but it's quite stable situation. To make sales, for example, in one country, it depends from the budget. So you will have money like one time per year. But I was responsible for international sale, and we were trying to be like in 60 countries on all over the world, on all continents. And it was very hard to conduct. And sometimes we were hitting all together, and everyone was saying, "Oh, come on, I am having like a third of the business." And I was thinking, yes, okay, but I'll give like 99% of all the money we spent.
Well, yeah, it's also funny to see that how responsibility could be asymmetrical to the gains that company or maybe, like some sort of group of people getting. And when it's actually comes to, like taking apart, like taking a different roads, because sometimes there could be also voting. And as far as I know, there could be like a board of directors, and sometimes also partners might have to say, they might have like a seat at the table and they might be voting. When it comes to maybe personal relationships, probably dynamics could be different, but when it comes to business or like more big institutional entities, how exactly responsibility for decision making might be distributed?
If you have partners with equal shares, you will be always in that end because, for example, two-person sometimes could be agree against you and you could nothing to do. Okay, maybe you smart, maybe you have money, maybe you have ideas, but if you have no support of, I don't know, like 60 or 66%, nothing could be done. For example, one client of mine, there is a huge company and they have like three families and they divided like for 30% of for each family and 10% for the management. And now they have a fight which take them like, I don't know, 4 years, and they couldn't sit all together, but they try to do this. They make it twice per month. They sit all together, they give arguments, they hire consultants, they buying some researchers, but nothing is moving. So it's like a Russian, I don't know how to say, like a biker, how to say, like fairy tale, I don't know.
Anecdote or story?
Like a story, yes, written by a famous story writer Krylov about swan, fish, crow, and
Answer.
pike. And pike.
Could be a pike too. Yes.
Okay, and all of those creatures, they trying to pull, if I'm not mistaken, carriage, telegu.
Yeah, that was a carriage.
They were trying to take carriage, but in different direction. So at the end of their attempts, the carriage stood still on the same place.
Well, we speak about how people interact, how people solve the problems, but maybe it's also sometimes might be times to say goodbye, and it might be like not really easy goodbyes. So it comes to like wars or like intrigues or like dividing what was acquired. So in those kind of situations, how the partnerships should be ended constructively. And when I say constructively, it obviously means the side. So maybe we will try to look at it from a different sides.
The best way is to sell the company to third party, but it is not easy. Even in those in this story I mentioned, I also find oligarch and I made him an offer. But it's the period from the ending of the fight to the sale is very dangerous because someone is in charge, and this person or those people, they will try as will try to spend as many resources as possible, because they know that if they will not take them from company, someone will. So it's like a robbery. Each part try to rob time, money, hands, brains, and other resources. It's about monitors, computers, cars, and everything else. And it's very pity to say, when you going, for example, for a travel, sometimes you have a company and you collect money, you distribute some, I don't know how to say, conserve,
Hence,
cans with meat or with condensed milk to carry and to eat for different days. You will have the equal weight, and you could stay in the travel, for example, for 1 or 2 weeks. But in the situation of the quarrel, everyone would say, okay, this was carried by me, so I will not give it to you. But you know what's funny? It will start at the end of the travel, not for the very first day. And for example, you are carrying tent, and it is like 20 kilogram. And I'm carrying, for example, cans for 20 kilogram. First, I would live in this tent and I would be happy. And then suddenly I will say, oh, come on, but all these cans carried by me. So we could rearrange our agreements. And you'll say, yes, but you all nights was sleeping under my tent I am carrying right now. And I will say, yes, but you have no cans, so you have nothing to eat. You should accept my offer. And in the business, it's very hard. And for me, I have already created 7 business projects, and each time I think next time I would create by myself just young partners, not more than 10% in one hand.
well, now I will probably ask the question that I might be asking in the beginning, but I think it's probably a good time to do this now. So when we're choosing partners, when we at the side who's actually making decisions, given that, for example, in your case, you would have like several years of experience, like ups and downs. So how exactly we should approach to choosing to whoever will be sharing the blood, sweat, and tears with us while struggling with the life?
It depends. It depends from how many people you know. For example, it also was a reason to create School of Troubleshooters. I have a saying which I pronounce very often. I say something like this: you start business with whom you can, and you finish business with whom you want. So, for example, at the very first moment, I know now no one in Safonovo, so I should ask just people I know. It's maybe my neighbors or maybe people on the street. But if I will live in this city, for example, like for 2 or 3 years, I would find much better IT guy, much better marketing guy, much better guy for operational excellence. And then I could change them. Or I could start another business with this new people.
Well, and then my last question will be how knowing about partnership could help to make this world a better place.
It was 90s in the post-Soviet Union, and a lot of oligarchs, they started to do business in hostels, and they right now are richest people in the country and sometimes all over the world. And they have no quarrels. They are not trying to kill each other. They do not go to the court, and they keep all together. But new people, like who was born in the new century, they sometimes created small startups and businesses, and they fight and they made fraud to the newspapers and magazines. They are making a lot of holy wars and flames all over the net. And those businesses are not so solid as they which were created in partnership, while people were living on the same square, in the same rooms in the hostels.
Well, and we reviewed the skill of partnership and how it could be helpful for you. Stay in peace.